Good afternoon. I hope everybody had a decent weekend. I was successful in getting quite a bit done on the website. That was my goal, and I had achieved it. In fact, I got further on it than what I had thought I was going to. Um, Aaron, he edited his host file so he could actually get in there and take a peek at it. Um, because even though it's set up, the name servers is still set up for the old host. So when you go to the watchmannews.com, you will see the old site. But there's a trick you can do with your Windows host file to where you can actually view the new site under construction. So anyway, he checked it out. We were chatting in the chat room a little bit, and everything seems to be working fine. It was a rough start, let me tell you. It was, of course, you guys already know about the issues I kept having with the server to begin with. Now we've got that running. It seems to be beautiful. And now it's just a matter of getting the site set up the way I want it. That started out to be an absolute nightmare because there's a couple of things that I wanted, and I was having a problem with compatibility. So one of them was what they call a sticky menu. I want the menu to be able to stick at the top of the screen, and I had a heck of a time, but I happened across the paid version of the menu that I'm using, and so it's got it built in there. But when I tried to use a separate extension to do it, it caused an error. Probably something that was scripted in there on purpose to cause that error to get people to buy the paid menu. So I lucked out and found a copy of it. It just won't update. No big deal. So anyway, so we got that working. It sticks like it's supposed to. It's got the proper animations like it's supposed to. And then I was able to install an extension called Delete My Account. That way when people get butthurt that are registered to the website, they don't have to bother me and say, oh, delete me. You know, they do it anyway for attention, but that way they can delete themselves. So I wanted to put that in there. So everything's going together nicely. The reason I mentioned the delete my account thing is the first time I put it in, it caused issues with the animations in the menu. So it is what it is, but it's all working properly now. I've got lots and lots to go. I've got the video player on it. I haven't been successful in being able to RTMP directly into it, meaning be able to broadcast the live show directly into it right with the video player itself. But we'll manage one way or another, and there's a million other players out there, so not an issue at all. There's a million ways to do that. How many times did I reinstall CentOS? Oh my God, I could not even imagine. I bet I reinstalled CentOS, which for those that don't know is the operating system I'm using for the server, no less than 50 times, I'm sure. But a lot of that was due to because I was learning and I was making errors. I wasn't getting it to work right. And so once I did figure out the correct settings, I wanted to put it in fresh. So the last time that I put it in, I somewhat knew what I was doing, and everything's working properly. So, but yeah, it is what it is. I couldn't tell you how many times I installed the Joomla script. I probably installed the Joomla script with the theme that I use probably between 15 and 20 times. So, because the menu thing is a big deal to me. A menu is an important thing for a website. You have to have a menu that grabs somebody, and that's what I wanted. So, anyway, there's some breaking news happening as I speak, and I want to start off with that real quick. I do have a monologue topic for today. It stems from something that went viral on the internet, especially in our local area today. And wow, crazy. So let me refresh the page in case anything new has came out. But This is the current breaking news going on right now. Active shooter reported at U.S. Department of Justice. I guess I'm looking here and it says all clear signal given. So let me see here. Police officers from Washington, D.C. are responding to notifications of gunmen inside the offices of the Justice Department. Staff members are sheltering in place as the situation unfolds, a spokeswoman for the Justice Department told Reuters. So, let's see. The police have released the all-clear signal, indicating there is not any imminent danger. More details to follow. So, don't know what happened. Have no idea what happened. Could have been somebody scared of their own shadow again. That does happen. In the halls of justice. I was trying to get some voice editing, live voice editing software procured and installed before the show, because I was just going to play with it. That would have been real nice to be able to hit a button and gave myself that big booming voice. That would have been cool. But no luck. Something is down today across the board, and I'm afraid to say what, but something that you can utilize to go to get in places and get things is down. It's weird. Because even when a particular site is down, usually I'm trying to say it without saying it, I'll just say the seeds. Usually you can still connect to the seeds, okay? And nada today. Nothing. So I find that extremely, extremely interesting. That's kind of mind-blowing, to be honest. Wonder what's up with that. Anyway, so let's check out the financials and we'll get to pissing people off. All right. So, hey, we're up a subscriber. Woo! By the end of the show, we'll be down like 3 or 4. So, anyway, we're setting at 283. We're actually moving back up the ladder just a little bit. Not much, but, you know, a little bit on the YouTube. So, steam it. We're up to 522 followers. That is awesome. I'm enjoying our growth over there. So, howdy over there on D Live. That is what I also mean when I say steam it. To me, it's still one big conglomerated, confused mess. But I'll get it all figured out. So anyway, we've been slowly trickling it in, and then when D Live upvotes us, of course, we get a little more hefty amount. We'll have this coming in 4 days. So $4.30 in Steam dollars will be there in 4 days. And then they break down the other stuff too. So, okay, so that's where we're at with that. Google AdSense. Somebody's been clickety-clicking today. And let me refresh the page just to make sure it's updated. So far for the month, we've got 634. That will go up and down because sometimes it throws out some clicks, and I want to say that it was higher than that last week, but I'm not positive. I thought we were up to like 8 something, but that does happen. Balance is $14.93. It used to be last week. It was $11.08. So that tells me that our YouTube came in, which was a big whopping like $2.80 something cents or something. I'd have to sit there and do the math. But yeah, that's all we got. Folks, you don't get rich off YouTube, especially if you've got a small channel. You just don't. So that's that. Let me get through Twitter because, wow, I want to get to this rant that's probably gonna piss some people off, but that's okay. I'm good at that. And here's the thing. I'm actually curious at which side it's gonna piss off more. So we'll see. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and do the Twitter's stuff. I'm going to start out with stuff from yesterday because I think it's interesting what's coming as a result. I've kind of got some ideas, some thoughts, and I'm not the first cat on the block to have these thoughts, but nevertheless, I want to reiterate the thought. If I can even say the word. U.S. F-15 fighter jet crashes into sea off Okinawa. Okinawa. Trump continues tweet tirade against Canadian PM, acts hurt when called out. I saw a meme, by the way. I saw it today, and it's one of those that you shouldn't laugh at, but you have to. And it was, you remember the whole thing during the Trump campaign, about him grabbing some kitty cat, and it was a meme of Trudeau standing next to him. Trudeau sticking his hand out, and Trump's not reciprocating. He's not sticking his hand out back, and the meme said something to the effect of Trump draws a line at grabbing kitty cat. It's funny. It was funny. I thought it was funny. Anyway, Kim Jong-un invites Trump to Pyongyang for second round of summit. And by the way, there's another thing I saw tweeted. I don't know if I shared it or not. I don't know if I tweeted it. Sorry, I saw it. I don't know if I tweeted it. Apparently, Kim Jong-un had said that he's willing to host talks between U.S. and Canada. I thought that was priceless. Absolutely priceless. Anyway, let's see. Free Syrian Army. And folks, listen to this. This is big. This is huge. Especially the last time this was said, it came out to mean something. Free Syrian Army and U.S. preparing chemical provocation in Deir ez-Zor, says the Russian Ministry of Defense. Now, the last time this was said, and I did report on it when they said something last time, I did report on it, but I didn't make a big deal of it, and guess what happened? Boom. Chemical attack, right? And then we launched more missiles into Syria, and blah, blah, you know the drill, right? But they're saying it again, so keep your eyes and ears open. Keep your eyes and ears open. And I said back then that it wasn't what the media was saying. And I'm going to tell you right now up front, it's not going to be what the media is saying. Folks, we should be able to catch on to this ahead of time at this point. I mean, they've played this game out way too long. Check this out. Chicago firefighter arrested after daughter posts picture with assault rifle. No joke. No joke. He had 2 charges given to him, and I'm assuming he's probably going to lose his firearms, and it's insane, right? And then there was something else I seen, like just Sunday alone or something. There were 22 people killed or something, gun violence in Chicago, and it's like, wait a minute here. And people aren't allowed. See, he's not supposed. He got charged with 2 things. One of them was he didn't have the weapon secured, and a minor got a hold of it. Right, his daughter. The second one was he wasn't supposed to have that kind of a rifle within that area that he was in. I don't know if it was the city or the county or what it was, but you weren't supposed to have an assault type rifle, because it's big and scary and black. Oh my God. So, this is insane. People aren't allowed to defend themselves? That is insane. Insane. I can imagine his daughter's in some trouble, though. U.S. issues more anti-Russia sanctions related to alleged cyber activity. Here we go again. Beating them war drums with everything we have. Aaron shared this next link with me earlier. It's about another volcano that is apparently about ready to pop. So last 24 hours through the monitoring systems at, you make it up how you pronounce that, Popocatépetl volcano. Some people come just for my pronunciations, I'm sure. Were registered to 19 exhalations with them. Hey, 19 exhalations. That's more than some dead people, With emissions of steam and gas, Image 1, also were registered 2 explosions at 1727, Imogen 2, and 220 HH, Imogen 3. At night, it was possible to observe incandescence that increased with some exhalations. In other words, this is translated. I'm assuming what they're saying is you could see light coming from it when it was, I'm going to call it burping, okay? At the time, or I think they call it venting, is actually the technical term. At the time of this report, the emissions are dispersed to the south-southwest direction. Sinopred emphasizes that people should not go near the volcano, especially near the crater, due to the hazard caused by ballistic fragments, and in case of heavy rains, leave the bottoms of the ravines by the danger of landslides and debris flows. So keep an eye on that volcano. See what happens there. Dabu, and we'll be playing that here after a while. Dabu had talked about how there's an increase in some earthquake activity. And I do believe it's all related. I really do, and I think we're going to see a lot of crazy stuff. Storms, volcanoes, earthquakes, all kinds of craziness. Difficult, if not impossible, to solve crisis without Russia, says Italian Prime Minister to NATO chief. Italy left alone in crisis after shutting ports to migrant rescue ship. Rome rebukes EU criticism. Stay vigilant. Iran warns North Korea's Kim ahead of Trump meeting. And I would advise Kim of the same thing. I really would. There's a special place in hell for Trudeau for backstabbing Trump. White House trade advisor says. Truman Carrier Group renews attacks on Daesh from Eastern Mediterranean. In other words, you know the drill by now. The reason why I went back to yesterday's stuff I tweeted was this article here. U.S. suspends F-15 training missions in Japan after jet crashes. I'm just so curious if they're having issues with their electronic systems. Not issues necessarily by failure of the device itself for its own capabilities, but being intercepted, being altered, or whatever the case may be. Because a lot of information coming on when it comes to being able to affect aircraft and ships and stuff like that electronically. Twitter comes unglued as Canadian PM Trudeau's fake eyebrow falls off. I mean, this is some weird stuff, folks. Weird stuff. Net neutrality ends. Your internet provider can change how you use the internet. And I still don't understand this yet. Because I've seen stuff on both sides of it. Good thing, bad thing. I really don't know for sure if net neutrality was a good thing or a bad thing, or because I never really did sit down and break it down. You have to be careful with this stuff, man, because they'll wrap a piece of dog pile in a ribbon, right, with a nice pretty bow, and you'll think it's the best thing there is. It's still doggy do, right? It's it's just one of those things. You never know. So, what am I going to talk about today? Well, there was an incident that happened rather locally and rather recently. And it really made waves this morning on the internet. In fact, I've seen it quite a bit on my feed. But that being said, I do news, so that means I have a lot of news outlets and stuff that I like their Facebook pages and stuff, and happens to be a lot of St. Louis stuff and even some not so famous news. Probably one of my favorite news agencies that I ran across is one called Real STL News, and it's just citizen news reporters. And they do a pretty good job. They really, really do. So they were part of how I knew about this. Also, another part of how I knew about this is during some of the protesting, there was a group that came forward and kind of took over down there to make sure that the protests were done. And I'm going to say the word properly, even though protesting, that's one of those words that to one person, proper is not proper. To the next person, whatever the case. But anyway, I got what they were doing. They were doing a good thing. They did a great job. And they were the first ones that had posted something about it that caught my attention this morning. So I want to I want to go to an article about pretty much the end result of what happened, and then we'll go from there. And that's what we'll be talking about, because this rhetoric is starting to really get spread again and get bad again. And I think it's time that somebody that has a different take on things speaks on it. So because it's just one of those things. So anyway, right here. Now this is from the Riverfront Times. If I had a different place to have gotten this article handy, I would have, but this is what came my way, so I'm going with this. Those that know Riverfront Times know that it's a heavily slanted, publication, I guess. I was trying to think of the right word. Racist Missouri waitress fired after in hunting video. I refuse to say the word. Tabitha Duncan, shown in the screenshot, was recorded saying terrible racist things on video. And I will play the video so folks know here. A Jefferson County woman filmed in one of the most racist redneck Missouri scenes imaginable was fired from her South County waitressing gig today after the video went viral. In the clip, 20-year-old Tabby Duncan, Michelob Ultra in hand, rides atop a truck as it rambles down a dirt road in the dark. It's pretty standard small-town idiocy until a mostly off-camera narrator starts in with some jarring racism. And I'm not going to read that. I'll let you listen to it. And let's see. Here's the video here. Let me go ahead and play it. This is stupid, right? This is stupid. If you work with the public and you do something like this, you probably deserve to get fired. Hang on. For some reason... Oh, here we go. Let me back that up. And again, there's going to be language in here, so if you've got little ones in the room, be warned.
Hey, so we going nigger hunting today or what? Fuck you nigger hunting right now, huh?
You get them nigger.
Look at my soon-to-be sister-in-law. Look, she looks so pretty.
Alright, and it's just short. I mean, it's not a long video or anything like that. But anyway, I guess somebody had recognized her, and the video had went viral. There have been several contacts made at her place of employment, in which I think they pretty much kind of denied stuff in the beginning, but the end result was that she did get fired. So I want to talk a little bit about racism today. Now, if you've been around here very long, you probably know my views on racism. I'm not racist. And at the same time, and I guess this is where it can get a little confusing for folks. I'm not racist, but I'm not going to try to stop somebody else from being racist. Why? Because that's stupid. To think that I can stop somebody else from having thoughts about any particular thing in particular is stupid. It's foolish. And see, this is where the true problem with racism lies today. It's not with the racists, believe it or not. The problem, and this spans many different issues. We're talking about racism, but this spans the issues with homosexuals. This spans the issues with transsexuals. I mean, everything. Pretty much anything that has to do with like a social issue, okay? This spans it because you can't legislate it, okay? And this is the problem. And it's kind of a two-part thing that's really causing the problem. One of them is for people begging big government to get involved, stick their nose in it and make laws, this, that, and the other thing. That's one problem, okay? Because there are people out there that's going to resent that. When they did the transgender bathroom bit, You can't believe the amount of people that pissed off. Okay? How is that helping? How is that helping? I don't get it. I just don't get it. And, you know, there are some laws that make sense. Of course, you got to have hate crime laws on the books. That only makes sense, right? That only makes sense. Because if somebody, you know, does harm, intentional harm to another human being, right, just because of their religion, their race, their, you know, nationality, that should come with a stronger penalty than if you just punch somebody in the face because you don't like them, right? And I'm talking about somebody you got a beef with or something. I'm not talking about you don't like them because of their color or their nationality or their religion or whatever. You know, I'm talking about you have a legitimate beef with them. That should be a separate set of consequences, and I understand that, and I get that. But expecting to think that those laws are going to actually change people's opinions of one another is foolishness. And the more we push this, and the more we push this, the more of a problem there's going to be with racism, or accepting any other one of the social issues that I mentioned. It's just not how the human mind works, right? As humans, we have this drive to be free, okay? And I know that's been heavily suppressed, much through indoctrination, medication, you know, it's been really suppressed. But we still have that drive within us. It's one of our human natural instincts. Right? We don't want to be forced to do something that we feel is wrong down to our core. Right? And if you run across somebody that is truly racist, and I mean truly, truly racist, they feel that way all the way down to their core. Okay? There is no quick little, well, you can't be that way, or, you know, that's foolish. It's not going to do anything. Right? And I'm not saying that it's something that should be accepted in society. Now, there's a difference. I'm not saying it should be accepted in society. But we have to stop this notion that we're going to get a trophy here. Okay? That we're going to be able to stamp out racism, or we're going to be able to stamp out bullying. Or, again, this applies to any social issue. Any social issue. And it's what is causing the problem, because you are getting so many others involved. It's unreal. Bullying got so much worse. Now we've got kids shooting up schools on a regular basis. Okay? And you cannot convince me that that's because of a gun problem. You cannot convince me that that's solely because of mental illness, or any one of the number of things that people want to point out. The largest reason, I think, for the increase in school violence is all the anti-bullying crap, this no-tolerance crap that you're hearing about. And I've explained this before. It involves a situation to where a child cannot lash back at the bullier, because if they do, they're the ones that get in trouble. That's the way this whole no-tolerance thing works. I've seen it over and over and over. So the wrong person winds up targeted. It just does not work. And so by the time that the kids had absolutely enough that he's going to strike back no matter what, that means he's going to strike back big. That means he's going to show them once and for all. And next thing you know, we're all hearing on the news about a young man, usually a young man, walking into a school armed, shooting his classmates. Same thing is true with racism. Do you know that I had seen racism expand probably tenfold in the 8 years prior to Trump getting in office? Yes, I mean when Obama was in office. You know why? Because the white men, including myself, got tired of being called racist. And it pissed them off. severely pissed them off. You had people that didn't have a racist bone in their body that were becoming racist because they were tired of being called racist. It's one of the oldest psychological lessons in the books. You treat someone like an animal long enough, guess what? They are going to become that animal. And it's true for all of us. And that kind of works itself back into racism too. The systematic part, the real part of racism. Because there is a very real part of it. If you don't think there is, go look at the predominantly black areas and go look at the school systems. You think the school systems are that way because it's a predominantly black area? Well, yeah, partially, but it's government instituted that way. There is a systematic racism. And in fact, I would say that systematic racism is the biggest part of it. And it just snowballs from there. It just snowballs from there. You know, and you have to understand, you know, where I come from this. I don't jump on a line either way. As I said, I'm just not racist. I'm not going to try to get somebody else not to be racist. I'm not going to try to force my not racist views on somebody that is. Now, I'll probably ignore it. But, you know, I'm not foolish enough to think I'm going to be able to change their mind. The only thing I can tell people is read your Bible. Tell me who it is that Jesus says I should hate. That's the best I can do. But, just like the other day, I was in a discussion on Facebook. And, you know, some of the stuff is just, it's insane. And I've got a few of those people on Facebook that want to take things, you know, to the everybody's a racist. Anybody that says a single good word about Trump is racist, and you know, just everything racist. That's how they break everything down. It's racist. And I'm telling you what, it's insane. I got out of the conversation pretty quick on, and the reason why is because I think his wife entered the conversation and used the word man something, obviously a feminist term. And I thought, you know what? She just proved my point. Now's my time just to step away. You know, because in the end I was talking about how all this stuff is there to divide us. It's to keep us divided. And that's most certainly true. In the end, all we're going to have is each other. And if it's your life that's at stake, you're not going to care what color that person is that's helping you. You're not. And if you do, you're a damn fool. You're a damn fool. It's going to take us all working together when this little shithole explodes. And that's a fact. That is a fact. We're going to have to put all that stuff aside. I actually blocked somebody on Facebook the other day, and I don't do that very often. You have to really rub me raw to get me to unfriend or block you, because I ignore most of it. I don't have to control other people. I don't have to control their views, their thoughts. I have no desire to. On the same note, I don't want people to try to control mine. Somebody had made a post basically equating a situation between the Supreme Court's decision that the cake bakers were not, you know, going to be allowed to be sued over this gay cake deal, and equating that to, does that mean that, like, for instance, hypothetically, a homosexual heart surgeon wouldn't have to save the life of a non-homosexual patient? Now, that goes a bit far, don't you think? And my comment is, you know, the first thing that came to my mind was Hippocratic Oath. You know, they're obligated. A doctor is obligated to help somebody. A doctor's not allowed to let something like that affect whether or not they treat somebody. They're actually comparing somebody's life or loss of life to a cake. Right? And wanted to double down on that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of having your agenda crammed down my throat. And I blocked them. Because that's just it. Okay? That's just it. You know what? If somebody's homosexual, I'm not going to bother them. As long as they don't tell me that the Bible says it's okay, or as long as they don't tell me that I have to accept it, or as long as they don't tell me this, that, and the other thing, as long as they're not shoving it in my face, I'm fine with it. Why should I care? And the same is true with racism. Because you wouldn't believe the amount of backlash I've had because I'm not racist. Can you believe that? I have been shunned and shamed because I'm not racist. Jen's seen it. I don't know if she recognized it or not, but Jen's seen it. I'll say something off air. But, you know, it's just one of those things, folks. We're not going to fix this problem if we're calling everybody that's not racist racist. And as far as the people that are racist, let them be. As long as they aren't physically harming somebody, as long as they aren't walking through the middle of a town screaming words that really shouldn't be done. And even that, you know, here's the thing. Here's how I feel about that. I believe in freedom. You guys understand that? I believe in freedom. So if somebody chooses to partake in the freedom of walking down a predominantly black street, screaming the N-word at the top of their lungs, I believe those black people have the freedom to kick their ass. See, I think we should have freedom, but I think we should be accountable for the consequences that freedom brings. Just like now, with the Second Amendment. I would most certainly consider the Second Amendment as a part of freedom, a major part of freedom, right? But we've got a city up near Chicago, right, Deerfield, Illinois, that is getting ready to, well, they've already banned the weapons. They've got to give them up, I guess, Wednesday, I think. Something like that. So, you know, it's coming up that they've got to give it away. And I haven't heard a peep. I haven't heard a single peep out of the cold dead hens people. Not a word. In fact, I've tried provoking the hell out of them, and I haven't heard a word. Not a word. The panty waists are crying. They are staying so silent, it's unbelievable. And when I say that, I'm not saying that because, you know, I'm saying that for actuality, because they need to be standing up. They need to be doing something. See, that freedom comes with a price, and that price has its consequences too. And we have to accept that, folks. Or else, what are we leaving our kids? What are we leaving them? It's insane. Absolutely insane. I believe Morgan Freeman had it right. I believe he had it right when he was asked one time about racism. He was asked what we could do to stop it. And his answer was simply, stop talking about it. And I agree. How many news articles do I read today that have to point out a black individual, a white individual? I just seen one. It was supposed to be kind of one of those happy article things. I just seen one just today or yesterday. An older white gentleman bent over helping a younger black gentleman tie his tie. And it had to be, it's specific. And the only reason why I said it is because you can't see the picture. I don't have the picture up. You can't see the picture. So I had to say so you would have an idea. But I did that in descriptive terms. Now, when you're looking at the picture, why did that need to be added? Why couldn't that have just been an awesome moment? An older man helping a younger man tie his tie for whatever reason, job interview or whatever reason, it didn't say. Why do we have to throw that color in there? See, all that's part of that systematic part that I was telling you about. The government and the media are playing a huge, huge role in this. Again, I'm not trying to convince anybody not to be racist. I'm not telling you not to be racist. In a beautiful world, I would say you probably wouldn't be racist. But I don't have that control. I've got enough on my plate just worrying about myself. Keeping myself in line, keeping myself in check. On as best terms as I can with God. You know, there's a part in the Bible that talks about, you know, being able to, what is it called, the plank or the splinter out of your own eye before you can help your brother. And I take that view on a lot of things. I gotta focus on me and make me better. And I think I'm doing pretty good at that. But I'll tell you what, I'll never get good enough at it that I decide that I need to start cleaning off other people's doorsteps. I have no interest in that. Anyway, I know it's a bunch of rambling, but there's my thoughts on it. You know, just remember, there will be a day, and I believe we're coming up to it very quickly, that we're all we're going to have. And we're going to have to accept each other for who we are. I separate into two groups. Good people and bad people. And there are no predeterminations for who goes in that group, in one group or the other. There are none. Either you're a good person or you're a bad person. You know, we play a lot of videos of abuse by police officers on the show. And I would understand where a lot of people would think, oh, well, they think all police officers are bad. No, I don't. I don't. But we're not going to fix the ever-increasing amount of bad ones by ignoring it either. We're just not. But I will never generalize people that way. Never. Because I would hope like hell that somebody else would give me a more of a chance than that. If you were to see me in person, you would think, oh, look at his teeth. He's a meth head. He's a meth head. No, I'm not. But by generalizing me that way, you could lose out on a lot. I might be able to help you fix a broken down car. Might be able to help you fix broken electronics or whatever the case may be. I might be able to help you. Try not to be too judgmental. I think if we all work on ourselves, it will just naturally become a better world. And you'll see a lot less of the violence going on. There is so much violence in our hearts. Remember, I've said that we can fix all this, but it has to start at home, in our minds and in our hearts. And that is the very thing that this is talking about. Anyway, we're going to get on with the live show. For those that just watched the monologue, I want to say thank you for watching. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit.